It's 2008. The financial crisis has the US economy in shambles. Both Tesla and SpaceX are on the brink of imminent bankruptcy. SpaceX's Falcon 1 has failed to launch into orbit for the third time. Tesla, while suffering internal problems with the Roadster, was bleeding money with no willing investors in sight. Today, Tesla has surpassed a $1 trillion valuation. At the time of this recording, rental car company Hertz had agreed to pay $4.2 billion for 100,000 Model 3s to add to its fleet of rental cars. Elon himself will round out 2021 with a nearly $300 billion net worth. Tesla is now the world's most valuable automaker, and with SpaceX finding success in aerospace manufacturing, the world can finally begin moving towards the future, humanity's access to space. So how was an immigrant from South Africa able to create such success? Even after exiting his first company for a multi-million-dollar payout, serial entrepreneur Elon Musk went on to create several multi-billion-dollar companies in the 2 decades that followed his first company sale. So in this video, we'll be looking at the rapid and disruptive rise of one of the most influential figures of our time. We'll start by breaking down his entrepreneurial journey, and later on we'll unpack his advice for entrepreneurs. Even as his companies fell into complete financial ruin and staggered on the brink of bankruptcy, his unwavering commitment to his vision in the face of immense risk is ultimately how he saved Tesla and SpaceX at the same time, and how he brought both companies to multi-billion-dollar valuations. This is the story of grit, perseverance against all odds, and a testimony to never give up on what you believe in. This is the story of Elon Musk.
When we first started at Tesla and Solar City, we thought they would fail. We thought, Tesla in particular, we thought probably with maybe 10% chance of success.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
Okay, so Elon Reeve Musk was born in Pretoria, South Africa to a model and dietitian mother and an electromechanical engineer father. He has a younger brother, Kimball, who would be present for many of his entrepreneurial pursuits, and a sister, Tosca. He was so quiet and reserved as a child that his parents and doctor ordered tests to see if he was deaf. His mother eventually learned that this was his way of daydreaming about his inventions. After his parents divorced in 1980, Elon at age 10 went to live with and subsequently become emotionally abused by his father, whom he called in his interview with Rolling Stone a terrible human being. Almost every evil thing you could possibly think of, he has done. School wasn't a safe refuge from his abusive home life, which he described as lonely and brutal. While highly intelligent and a voracious reader, he was nerdy, bookish, and the smallest boy in class. Elon was bullied mercilessly throughout his schooling years, at one point becoming hospitalized and unable to attend school for a week after a group of boys hunted him down and threw him down a flight of stairs. Instead, he found solace in video games, and at the age of 10, Elon developed an interest in computers. After begging his father for a Commodore VIC-20 and inexpensive home PC, he taught himself how to program in BASIC using its manual. By age 12, Elon built and sold the code of his first software, a video game called Blaster. The source code was sold to the magazine PC and Office Technology for $500. At the age of 16, Elon tried opening his own video game arcade with his brother Kimball. The two got as far as signing a building lease, but the idea failed when the city said that they were too young to get a real estate permit, which required an adult's involvement.
I was almost beaten to death, if you call that bullied. It was very violent. It was not a happy childhood. My father has serious issues.
So I sort of spent all night, several days in a row, just absorbing that. And
On your own. No one forced you.
no,
This is self-motivated. I gotta know this. This is good for me.
When you first do it, you're like, wow, this is incredible. You can actually make things happen. Like you type these commands and then something happens on the screen. That's pretty amazing.
So there is hope for all the parents who have middle school children who are lost in their video game.
Absolutely.
They too can be a billionaire.
I'm sorry, what I was just playing.
Bill, we're over here. Put the video game down.
Put your PS Vita down. Yeah, you know, actually, that's my son is a video game craze ball.
How old is he?
He's 9.
He's 9. Yeah, it doesn't get better.
Doesn't get better.
Right.
But his favorite game is something called Minecraft.
Yeah.
I know nothing about it.
Oh, well.
However, I started watching him play this, and I went, you know what? This isn't bad.
In June 1989, at the age of 17, Elon left South Africa to attend college in Canada in the hopes that it'd be easier to obtain a US citizenship if he was already in North America. In 1990, he attended Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario. 2 years later, in 1992, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania on scholarship. One of his early displays of entrepreneurial spirit was a secret nightclub he ran out of his college frat house. Elon and his roommate rented a large but cheap frat house off campus, which they then transformed into a nightclub and used to generate money for rent. The venture proved to be a huge success as they charged $5 for admission and had as many as 500 attendees a night. Elon ended up graduating from the University of Pennsylvania in 1997 with a Bachelor of Science degree in economics and a Bachelor of Arts degree in physics. At the age of 24, Elon moved to California to pursue a PhD in applied physics at Stanford University, but he dropped out after just 2 days. Elon's move to California was timed perfectly with the internet boom, and Silicon Valley in the mid to late 90s was a gold rush. He decided to pursue his entrepreneurial visions and set off on building his first internet startup.
Like if I can live for $1 a day, then at least from a food cost standpoint, well, it's pretty easy to earn like $30 in a month. You know?
Yeah, I would think.
So it'll probably be okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that allowed you to not have to worry about money
Yeah,
because you
well-
did the experiment.
Yeah, I did the experiment, exactly.
So this was an important psychological, philosophical anchor for you. Not
Yeah.
to put words in your mouth, but that's a starting point to launch anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so now you've got a baseline, a life baseline from which to go new places, intellectually, psychologically, financially. So what came first? Thoughts of an electric car or thoughts of space?
You know, when you're starting out in college, like in your freshman, sophomore year, like you have these sort of sophomoric philosophical wanderings. And I try to think of, okay, what are the things that seem to me would most affect the future of humanity?
In 1995, with the help of his brother Kimball, Musk launched his first company, Zip2, which developed online city guides for the newspaper publishing industry. The service provided online maps and directions in a time where most local businesses were not on the internet, and Yellow Pages was the dominant method of business contact and direction finding. Rather than renting an apartment, Elon rented a small office in Palo Alto where the brothers slept on the couch and showered at the YMCA. Before the company's success, Elon couldn't afford a second computer, and the two took turns sharing one overclocked home-built computer.
The website was up during the day, and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time.
Elon's experience building Zip2 contains his first piece of advice to entrepreneurs: to work hard. Across multiple public interviews, he consistently stresses the need for those with ambitions of starting a company to have strong work ethic. He believes that giving the extra effort is extremely important to one's success.
Work hard, like, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company.
The brothers' sacrifices eventually paid off. In 1999, Zip2 was acquired by Compaq for $307 million in cash and $34 million in stock options. Musk was just 28 years old.
Well, when my brother and I were starting our first company, instead of getting an apartment, we just rented a small office and we slept on the couch. And we showered at the YMCA, and we're so hot up we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night, 7 days a week, all the time. And I sort of briefly had a girlfriend in that period, and in order to be with me, she had to sleep in the office.
He had, $2,000, no friends, barely enough money for an apartment. I think he told me he was showering at the gym because they didn't have a shower where he was living.
We just got some futons that there were couches during the day and then turned into beds at night.
We had someone literally throw a Yellow Pages book at us and tell us, "Do you think you'll ever replace this?" And we thought the guy was crazy. Because not only were we going to replace this, but that's not where it ended. It would keep going from there.
Now, rather than announcing an early retirement and buying a private island to sip Mai Tais by the beach, Elon used his Zip2 buyout to launch X.com, an online financial service and email payment company that would later shape the future of online banking. An X.com acquisition later formed what is now PayPal. In 2002, PayPal was acquired by eBay for $1.5 billion in stock. Elon, as the company's largest shareholder, received $180 million. He was 30.
I could have bought probably a chain of islands, but that again, that was obviously just not of interest to me.
Using the proceeds of his PayPal sale, Elon founded his third company, Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, an aerospace manufacturer and interstellar travel company. He was the only funder for the first few years of its inception, with $100 million invested, which was the majority of his net worth.
How much of your personal fortune have you poured into this?
$100 million.
$100 million into something that you did not believe would work at the beginning.
Yes.
SpaceX's ultimate goal was to enable human civilization to leave planet Earth. In pursuit of this mission, the company first set off on figuring out how to build cheap spacecrafts for commercial space travel. Elon realized NASA had no ambitions of taking the next step into space exploration, that is, getting to Mars. This, in his eyes, was a massive failure for humanity. He wanted to reinvigorate the spirit of human exploration, but saw no one with the resources willing to execute on his vision. So he came to the conclusion that private enterprises held the key to re-inspire the pursuit of space travel in a bureaucratic industry experiencing no innovation and virtually no competitors. The existing aerospace manufacturers at the time were unnecessarily building rockets as large and as expensive as possible. Frustrated, Elon resolved to get to Mars himself. The goal was now to get a rocket into orbit for the lowest possible cost. Elon traveled to Russia 3 times looking to buy refurbished ICBMs, but was unable to secure a sale. He was allegedly told by the Russians when he tried to counter their offer of one rocket for $8 billion, "Young boy, no." Empty-handed, Elon resolved to build a rocket himself, for which he had to come up with low-cost ways to produce engines using off-the-shelf components, streamlining manufacturing by way of vertical integration, and optimizing launch operations with minimal overhead. Essentially, Elon was trying to build rockets entirely from scratch. SpaceX then evolved into a business which produced smaller and cheaper rockets in less time that heavily undercut the cost of conventional rocket manufacturers. In 2006, SpaceX attempted their first launch of Falcon 1, the company's first unmanned launch vehicle. It failed to reach Earth's orbit. 2007 and 2008 saw 2 more failed attempts at launching. Two months after the third launch attempt in September 2008, Falcon 1 successfully launched into orbit. Its success made history as the first privately developed rocket to do so. Tesla Motors was incorporated in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. Eberhard had visions of becoming a car manufacturer that is also a technology company. They wanted to redefine consumer perception about the electric car, as they were deemed unsightly at the time. To change the way people thought about EVs, Tesla's strategy was to start by producing a low volume of expensive, high-performance sports cars in a radical attempt to destroy the existing sentiment about electric cars, as well as to target early adopters. Following that, the founders' ultimate vision was to mass-produce electric cars with characteristics attractive to any buyer: affordable, environmentally friendly, and fast. In theory, as the cost of the vehicle moved down market, its accessibility to buyers of every income bracket would increase. The ambition of the pitch resonated with Musk, and through his future involvement with Tesla, he remained consistent in maintaining the company's long-term goal of producing affordable mainstream electric vehicles for the mass market. The purpose of Tesla, according to Elon, is to accelerate humanity's move towards sustainable energy by way of electric vehicles and solar power. In 2006, Tesla unveiled the prototype of its first car, the Roadster. It fulfilled the purpose of being an eye-catching, all-electric sports car that aroused public interest in the automaker. In the wake of the 2008 financial crisis, Elon Musk, who had initially been Tesla's chairman and largest shareholder, took over as CEO as the company was suffering financial ruin. Tesla was bleeding money as actual manufacturing costs far exceeded projections. With no outside investors willing to pour money into the young startup, Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy. At the same time, after burning through the $100 million he'd invested, SpaceX's Falcon 1 had just failed its third attempt at reaching orbit. On top of it all, he was getting divorced from Justine, his first wife and mother of 5 sons. In determining the fate of Tesla, Elon had to choose between investing the entirety of his PayPal payoff back into Tesla or to let his company go bankrupt. The choice was easy for him. He single-handedly recapitalized Tesla with $40 million of his own money.
But there was no question that I would do that in my own mind because Tesla was too important to let die. But I remember waking up on the Sunday before Christmas in 2008. This is the closest I've ever gotten, you know. And it was looking pretty grim because at that point, you know, even though the fourth launch of SpaceX had succeeded, we were still running out of money because we had three failures and only 1 success. Still not enough. And then the financing round for Tesla had not closed, and we had only 2 days, maybe two. I think it was like 2 or 3 days, maybe, to close it before Christmas. So I was like, man, this could be a really bad end of the year. Maybe both companies will fail.
Tesla was successful for a number of reasons, but at its core, the company solved a problem. Electric vehicles solved the problem of a dependence on fossil fuels, and Musk capitalized on the market's desire for more sustainable transport. By paying attention to what the market wanted as opposed to focusing purely on profitability, Musk was able to take advantage of and scale an unrealized business opportunity. If you solve a problem that people have first, profitability will follow. It's also important to be wary of entrepreneurship glorification and to take risks. Starting a business or anything you aspire to accomplish will take an immense amount of hard work and dedication to see through. You'll have to sacrifice a lot as you progress and inevitably deal with a lot of failure on the journey to success. But choosing to stay in the same place and not taking on a risk of possible failure is far worse than never trying at all. If you really want something, you'd be spending every waking hour in pursuit of that goal. This was demonstrated by Elon in taking the risk of draining his funds for a company he wanted to save and, above all, a purpose he believed in. So yeah, as you can see, his companies faced all sorts of troubles. SpaceX's first 3 launches had failed, and Tesla suffered from a plethora of manufacturing and supply chain issues. If Elon gave up or hadn't decided to take the risk of going all in with his personal fortune, it's likely that Tesla and SpaceX wouldn't be where they are today. We probably wouldn't even see electric vehicles in abundance on today's roads, and we wouldn't have dared to realize the possibility of interstellar expansion. There are many lessons to take away from Elon's entrepreneurial journey, one of which is the importance of hiring the right people. SpaceX would never have succeeded if not for the team he'd built, in which each and every employee believed in the same goal of getting Falcon 1 to orbit. When bringing in new employees, it's essential to determine whether or not they'll fit well into your team, and Elon emphasizes the importance of teamwork and aligning expectations from the beginning. Another lesson is to not let naysayers interfere with your vision. In the pursuit of anything meaningful, we encounter situations with naysayers that cast doubt upon our efforts and throw stones in our direction. The opposition that entrepreneurs encounter on their journey may challenge their ability to realize a vision, plant seeds of doubt in their minds that they don't have what it takes, and can even undermine the entire pursuit of a venture. Unjustified criticism can breed insecurity and even make you quit if you lack confidence in your abilities. Elon has encountered failure more times than most. Naysayers have criticized, denied, rejected, and ridiculed his entrepreneurial pursuits. In reality, he's never failed because you can only fail when you quit. Another one of the most important business lessons to take away from Musk's entrepreneurial journey is to realize the world rewards those who solve problems. Money then shouldn't be the focus. Sure, profits are a nice benefit of a successful business, but the most productive and profitable businesses focus on their products and services and their ability to solve problems, rather than simply chasing profitability. Today, SpaceX outperforms all of its competitors both in cost and speed of spacecraft production. The company is a tremendous asset to NASA and other government agencies in its efforts to reduce costs and increase efficiency. More importantly, Elon rekindled a new generation's excitement about exploring the final frontier and advancing interplanetary travel, as the company moves towards its ultimate goal of the colonization of Mars.
If that fourth launch hadn't worked, that would have been it. We would have not had the resources to mount a fifth.
You couldn't have gone out at that point.
Yes, death would have been, I think, inevitable because we did not have the resources to mount a fifth launch.
Musk made 3 trips to Russia trying to buy an intercontinental ballistic missile called the Dnieper. His plan was bizarre. Put a greenhouse on the rocket, land it on Mars, and beam back the pictures.
It'll get people really excited, and that would recharge human space exploration. That was my original idea.
You just wanted to get people interested in space again?
Yes, yeah.
Capture the imagination?
Yes, that was the idea.
Turns out the Dnieper was so expensive his idea never flew. So Musk decided that the only way to get an affordable rocket was to build it himself. And he started SPACEX.
So that is the story of one of the greatest minds of our generation, Elon Musk. A man that not only had a vision, but also the determination and work ethic to turn those dreams into reality, ultimately changing the way we think. I hope you were inspired by his journey and all the roadblocks he experienced, but ultimately overcame. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe, as we'll be dropping more videos like this each week.